The next panel, ladies and gentlemen, brings together policymakers and a tech entrepreneur to discuss infrastructure, investment and policy frameworks, particularly to find out what exactly will drive Mohali's rise as a key player in India's tech revolution. Let me now quickly introduce you to the panel on building a thriving regional ecosystem, a playbook for growth. I'd like to first up invite our moderator, Mr. Piyush Garg, Vice President, CEED, Chitkara University, responsible for shaping academic programs and institutional growth. Let's give it up for our speaker, Mr. Amit Dhaka, IAS, CEO, Invest Punjab, driving investment and business-friendly policies. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in inviting Mr. Amit Dhaka, CEO, Invest Punjab. Let's also extend a warm welcome to Dr. Rudra Pratap, founding Vice-Chancellor, Plaksha University, and a pioneer in micro and nano-electromechanical systems. Ladies and gentlemen, please give it up for Dr. Rudra Pratap, founding Vice-Chancellor, Plaksha University. And now, ladies and gentlemen, let's extend a warm welcome to Ms. Seema Bansal, Vice-Chairperson, Punjab Development Commission. She's spearheading strategic initiatives for regional development. Ladies and gentlemen, please give it up for Ms. Seema Bansal, Vice-Chairperson, Punjab Development Commission, and Mr. Manipal Dhariwal, co-founder and CEO, Netsmartz, leading a global team to drive digital transformation and tech innovation. And with that, I hand it over to our moderator, Mr. Piyush Garg, to take this forward.
So, very good morning to all of you, those who are still actually cherishing the amazing lunch which we had, and in the spirits of actually having a tea or a cup of coffee, and a very amazing and beautiful good afternoon to everyone else. So, do I need to repeat good morning or good afternoon? Great. This panel which we have today, it's actually one of the amazing panels, and I was really looking forward to. When we talk about Mohali and Mohali region per se, this is becoming as a hub for innovation, technology, new age technologies to be very specific. And when we talk about this, the role of policymakers, academicians, and seasoned entrepreneurs, they play a critical role. So today I have with us two amazing policymakers, a brilliant academician, and a seasoned entrepreneur, and a lifelong learner with you. And in the interest of full disclosures, we just learned during the lunchtime that two policymakers are the alumni of Chitkara. So Seema ma'am and Amit sir, they have been the students of Chitkara, Dr. Ashok Chitkara. So Amit sir, we would like to start with you. So Punjab actually has been one of the favorite destinations for investments for all the industries. And Invest Punjab is doing an amazing job. But we would like to understand that what are the specific strategies which you are adopting to invite the new age startups, new age companies to come to this region. And part B of this question would be that what impact have you seen out of those strategies when new age companies come to this region?
Very good afternoon to all. See, this is a continuous journey, and Punjab and Punjabis have been pioneer in all the fields areas which have come for grab. And I think Punjab was at a very early stage, we came with a startup policy, and we came with a very robust one-stop shop, which is a true single window for all the regulatory clearances and fiscal incentives. And then we are fortunate enough to be placed at a strategic location called Mohali. And after the inauguration of new airport, we had the added advantage of location and connectivity. As far as the policy interventions are concerned, as I told you, it's a continuous journey. If we see where we are, then I feel that in terms of broad policy engagements, incentives of seed money or rentals and whatnot, they are there. But when we see the achievers in these sectors like Hyderabad, Bangalore, Gurgaon, then we must learn that we have a lot of ground to cover. And I think that is one part. Second is, as far as the tech startups and new age companies, what they require, a good ecosystem. And fortunately, over the years, Punjab and Mohali region in particularly, we have that ecosystem of institutional support. We can start with IIT Ropar, we have Punjab Engineering College, we have ISB Mohali, we have ISER, we have NAVI, we have Semiconductor Lab, which is seeing a very big investment. We have few bright private universities around now in terms of Chitkara University, Chandigarh University, we have Dhaka College. So we have a very good ecosystem. And Mohali or Tri-City being the catchment for the whole of the north. Once you leave the NCR side, so Mohali is the natural attraction for all the young entrepreneurs and the white collar young people. So I think we are well placed for this new age phenomenon, but I think we have to cover a lot of ground also. So it's a 50-50 thing.
Okay, so he's played safe. Okay, so coming to you, Rudra sir. We all have seen what the role of IISc was when Bangalore was in the development phase. And today, any one of us actually think about technology, think about entrepreneurship. As the hub of entrepreneurship, Bangalore is the first name which came. But that goes without the fact acknowledging the role of IISc, right? So we would like to understand what is the role of educational universities like Plaksha in fostering the innovation and entrepreneurship in today's present era. And secondly, what unique initiatives are you taking to bridge the gap in the industry and academia? Let me just rephrase the second part, bridge the gap beyond industry and academia. Because we have been trying to bridge this gap from past 15 years, so now we need to go beyond that. Over to you, sir.
Okay, good afternoon. Thank you very much for having me here. Pleasure to be in this panel. The question you asked, the first question, what is the role of university? Well, there isn't any place in the world where innovation has thrived without having a really solid university right in that ecosystem. Whether you take Cambridge, Boston, Silicon Valley, you name it, anywhere, right? And you named right in India that it's Indian Institute of Science. The only difference is that Indian Institute of Science doesn't market itself loudly because it's Indian culture, not to tom-tom yourself too much. But Bangalore, the entire ecosystem of Bangalore is fueled in no small measure by what happens at Indian Institute of Science. Aerospace, entire aerospace industry owes itself to Indian Institute of Science. Something that the whole country is proud of, ISRO. Many people may not know that the first director or the chairman of ISRO was the director of Indian Institute of Science, right? So, universities are those places which provide you a fearless environment to experiment, to fail, to pass, to do many things that is very hard to do outside. It's a very safe environment. That's where innovation thrives. So even today, when in Silicon Valley, you hear a lot of great entrepreneurs who are touted as flunk outs from X university. Even if they did not graduate, but they are still associated
with that
they are dropouts from these universities. You have to ask yourself why. It's the environment that gives you that kind of impetus. Now coming back to what we are doing beyond industry, beyond academia, to make this happen in Mohali. That's our dream. Our dream is that around Plaksha in 10 years flat, we want to see 100 companies, which are all deep tech companies, coming out of the university. And that can happen only if you are at the cutting edge in terms of education. In terms of mentoring, you have a whole lot of mentors available. Fortunately for Plaksha, 150 entrepreneurs are our founders. So it comes to us on a platter.
Okay.
Every single student who wants to start a company can get a mentor in that particular industry that they want to start. So that's a big strength. And the third thing I find is that government is incredibly supportive. Government is very supportive of doing anything that we want to do. Seema is sitting here. We keep brainstorming with her about what PDC is doing and how we can participate in various things. So that's the third pillar that you do need. Something that Mohali has better than Bangalore.
Okay.
See, you sat up to notice what I'm going to say. And it is true. Something that we have better is the road infrastructure in this place. You know how Bangalore...
Everyone can vouch for that. Everyone can vouch for that. A huge round of applause to the Punjab road infrastructure.
Absolutely. You know how Bangalore is crumbling today. Anywhere in the world you go, everybody talks about traffic problems in Bangalore. We have that solved right in the beginning. And therefore, there is a case that you can build a better Bangalore in Mohali.
That's so very true. That's so very true. Most important role which any ecosystem has to play is to provide a fearless environment. Most important word is that fear, we should get rid of the fear to fail. We should be accommodating that in our ecosystem. Coming to you, Seema ma'am, you are the flag bearer in this panel as well. We are celebrating International Women's Day tomorrow. We actually had some amazing discussion during the lunch, right? Amit ji said, don't mention that in the panel, okay? So you have actually worked extensively on a large-scale systemic changes, right? So before we come to the solutions, what are the biggest challenges in building a sustainable ecosystem in Mohali and the region in the vicinity for the policymakers, industry and academia to work together? The challenges.
No, I'm glad we talked about challenges, but I think just to add to what RP said, I want to talk about the vision first, just for a second. 4-5 years ago, when I was not in government of Punjab but outside, we were asked to think about Punjab and Punjab's economic growth. We thought about Mohali, and the tagline that we came up with, which I still today believe in, is that Mohali can be the Boston of Asia.
Wow.
So we're not talking...
Round of applause. Boston of Asia. Please, a little louder.
So whoever's here from Bangalore, Madan, whoever's here from Hyderabad, we're not even talking about beating Bangalore or Hyderabad.
Madan, you have a competition.
Mohali is genuinely, right? And I think the reason for that is that we have virgin territory. Mohali is not a fully occupied city that we're trying to rebuild. I think there's a lot of land. We can start afresh and we can just do a lot, right? Having said that, I think some of the biggest challenges are, how do you actually create a city, which I don't think Gurgaon has succeeded in, and even Bangalore has, just struggled with. How do you create a city where residential areas, public spaces, as well as commercial and business areas come together in a way that the city is still a very livable city, right?
So very true.
And that, I think, from the very beginning requires not only thinking about investment and how to bring in investment, but it's also the government job and the policymakers' job to already start thinking about public transportation, to already start thinking about public infrastructure in terms of healthcare, in terms of schools, in terms of green parks, to think about broader things such as airport connectivity, and in this day and age, also environment and climate, right? So the job of I think typically the mistake that most cities make is that they only think about one or two of these elements. So they will only think about, how do we bring in investment? How do we monetize land, sell as much of it as possible so that more and more people are building, right? But we have to today think about what is the city that we want to create 20 years from now, and start thinking about all of those elements together. I think we have Chandigarh as an amazing example of that. Chandigarh was conceptualized as a net new city, and even today, right, after 60, 70 years of existence, Chandigarh still continues to retain a large part of the flavor, the culture, but also just the principles and ethos with which it was built. It's still one of the most livable cities in India, and I think as we think about Mohali, the hope and the dream is to think about it holistically, not just from an investment point of view and an economic engine point of view, but from all points of view, such that we create genuinely a 21st century city in India afresh. And
a roadmap for the Boston in Asia.
yeah,
Amazing, ma'am.
And
Amazing.
I'll take an example of another city, as they say, Rome wasn't built in a day.
So if you could actually just, because we have a second follow-up question,
Yes.
और उसमें वो points आएंगे, so I'm just providing you an insight.
Done.
Okay.
Over to you.
So, Manipal ji, as a seasoned entrepreneur, Netsmartz has grown significantly over the past years, right? And you have seen the growth of Netsmartz and Mohali together. But if we try to understand what opportunities Mohali presented to you, Mohali and Mohali region presented to you in your growth trajectory, and what are the challenges which still exist in terms of infrastructure or support to the tech companies?
Good afternoon, good to be here. For that, I think I'll have to take you back a little bit in time. So, for us, our journey in Mohali or Chandigarh started in 2001. And so I still remember.
So it's been 24 years.
24 years. And we, at that time when we came here, it was for passion, being a Punjabi, that let's set up over here. The environment was such, there was just a handful of IT companies here at the time. And we had to set up the first office and take space in a showroom in Sector 9 next to an ISP, so that we could get internet lines. Those are those times, right? And very few academic institutions. We had PET, TAPA, and the PTU system was just kind of starting out. So soon enough we realized that every weekend we had to fly out to find talent from Bangalore or Delhi to kind of bring back. But then that also over the years presented opportunities, as you touched on that. So we evolved and grew with the ecosystem. We set up finishing schools that could make students industry ready to be employable. We built infrastructure because we didn't have quality office space. Now to answer the second part of your question, fast forward 24 years, we've come a long way now over here. But still some areas of improvement potentially are scalable infrastructure. I think if we could get more plug and play spaces, co-working spaces, that's the need of the day. If we can really improve global connectivity from our airport over here. I think we have a couple of international flights, but I think, I believe 20% of Indira Gandhi International Airport's traffic is from this region.
And
that's a big game changer, if we can really improve on that. I think if there could be some dedicated funds and VCs for born in Punjab businesses, made in Punjab businesses, that could help things a lot. And finally, both my co-panelists touched on is that really if we can start building brand Mohali as the next big tech destination, I think that will really hopefully bring a lot more businesses and a lot of seasoned, experienced professionals also, from around the world. So I think those would be some of the recommendations to consider.
Some of the recommendations, okay. So we will park that question as well. Okay. So coming back to you, Amit ji, and for this part of the questions, we will keep it very, very brief in the interest of time. Where do you see Mohali and region for the next 5 to 10 years, and what steps are being taken so that it becomes, as Seema ji mentioned, the Boston of Asia?
As I mentioned that, geographically, Mohali is what Gurgaon is to Delhi. Gurgaon surrounds Delhi from 2/3 of the side.
That's right.
And we have the same thing in terms of Chandigarh, that on 2/3 of the side, Mohali surrounds Chandigarh. And even today, sitting in 2025, I think we still have a clean sheet. Now, as bureaucrat, as part of government, what I feel is that the time has come where we should not hear, rather in government we should prefer to hear less what Professor Rudra Pratap is saying, that Punjab government was very supportive. We should be at the bare minimum. You know, the more we try to intervene, less comfortable or less progressive the entrepreneur is. The entrepreneurial energy requires a lot of space, and we are the constraints. So I believe that even I was discussing with Seema and when we were sitting there. So the only formula which I personally think is to unlock the value of Mohali is that we just set up broad contours and outlines, and we set up a framework, and then we leave it to the entrepreneurial energy and skill. Like if there are 3 persons who are going to set up an IT park themselves, then they will be much faster than me to bring the companies there, rather than I first create an IT park, then I go for infra and go for that. But then I have to learn how to leave space for others. And that is the art if we learn in the government, that we create processes which are based on minimum discretion, and we create an infra and a space where the maximum possible space is left for private sector and we just stay out. That is good enough for them to grow. So I think Mohali is a bright future. Already we have so much with us, but yes, we have to see that despite having so much, we are still not there where Gurgaon or Bangalore is. So we cannot pat our back that okay, we are doing good. No, we should see that what they have already done. But still we have not missed the bus. We are late, but we are not very late. So I think we must first of all decide that what is the starting point and what should be our approach. And if we are able to find this path of creating space and positivity for entrepreneurs, rest everything will follow in faster than we can think.
So minimalistic intervention, an enabling environment, and a conclusive approach towards the entire ecosystem. A huge round of applause for the government of Punjab and for the ecosystem of Startup Punjab which has been created, Invest Punjab which has been created. I think it needs a louder round of applause. Everyone. Wait. So, Rudra sir, we understand that talent is actually the backbone of any industry or any ecosystem, right? So how are you contributing? You as in Plaksha is contributing to building a skilled workforce which Mohali and the region can leverage from. Because without the right talent, it will be very difficult for the region to grow.
Right, yes. So the kind of talent that you want to produce, you have to think what your objectives are. We are positioned as an AI native university, which is producing, or which is at least has as its goal to produce tech leaders of India for 21st century. That's the goal, very clear goal, that it has to produce tech leaders, not people who just graduate and take the certificate and go for a job. So everything that we are doing is being done with that as an objective. So what does it mean? It means that you train them not only in fundamental technologies where understanding is solid, but absolutely at the cutting edge where they see where industry is today. What does the industry need? What does the society need? In the previous panel we heard about empathy, compassion. All of that put together. Students go to our communities around, they go to the villages around us, and they find problems from there, they bring problems, marry AI with it, and find solutions. Seema is talking about sustainable cities. If you come to our university, you will see that it's already planning that what should be a future city like. There are simulators for this. That what should be a future city in India like, because we want to build 100 such cities in this country. Right? You can simulate that. Now we have all the technology. So this is the kind of work you do in a university like Plaksha, to enable students to think like leaders, to become leaders, and make Mohali the next Boston of Asia.
So one word which we are taking today with us is Boston. Definitely the Boston. So coming to you, Seema ma'am. So if you have to identify one game-changing initiative which could accelerate Mohali and Mohali region so that it could become the Boston of Asia?
I think, look, I think what we need to do is identify, just 2 or 3 spaces where Mohali is known as the hub. Right? I think it's very broad to say IT, ITS today.
That's
or,
right.
I think we have to say, if Plaksha is investing in AI, then do we create an AI ecosystem? If we already have a semiconductor, setup of Government of India, do we create a semiconductor system? So I think the one game-changing initiative will be to not just leave it very broadly as IT and ITS or GCCs, but identify 2 or 3 spaces and make sure that we have the policies, the incentives, the infrastructure and the ecosystem.
So if we have to just identify one game-changing initiative, what it would be? From Seema Bansal.
Pick 3 sectors and go after them hard. My 3 sectors would be AI, Agri-Tech, Semiconductors.
Semiconductors. Wonderful. Great.
If I
You can. Only you can. Wonderful. Wonderful. Great. So coming to you, Manipal ji, you actually personally and through Netsmartz have been the pioneer in this, bringing in this change in this ecosystem. So what role do you see as an industry leader so that we can actually see the support which is there required for bringing the true leaders in the students, in the upcoming future leaders, so that they can have the right kind of mentoring, the right kind of support from the industry?
I think more people should come forward. I think at a larger level, if you look at it, India is the last of the large economies that's yet to see explosive growth. And I think mentoring, support of that nature is part of nation building. And I think this region we could do with, use your platform to probably also reach out to the amazing NRI Punjabis who are all over the world doing so amazingly well. But with technology now, they can be mentoring and adopting startups that are being built out of their districts. And not just limited to just mentoring, but maybe help get people their first client, or maybe fund them in some cases, or open doors. So truly, we sort of build a thriving ecosystem to take it to the next level.
Amazing, amazing. Now for the last round of questions, there are a set of rules. Okay, this is the common question for all the panel members, but whatever has been answered by one cannot be repeated by the other. And it cannot be taken as an excuse that my previous panel member has already covered it. So who would like to go first?
I'll go first.
Okay. So that was a trick question. So who has said he will go first goes last. Great. So looking forward to the vibrant future. Sir, आपने कहा था थोड़ी सी cheating कर लेते हैं हम मिलके. So what are the 3 important strategies which our region means Mohali and the region, right, can learn from other startup ecosystems like Bengaluru, Hyderabad and international Silicon Valleys? The reason is that we should not be reinventing the wheels, and we should be learning from their strategies, learning what the best they have done in this ecosystem, so that we can next actually be in the TGS and tell what Mohali has done. 3 strategies. Amit?
Since my name starts with A, so I've always...
The first one to take the bypass.
Yeah. So I think it's not a rocket science. As I told you, the first strategy from government perspective, at the cost of being repetitive, just give a positive vibe from government side. Because see, a young person coming out of Plaksha or IT Ropad or any university should not feel that, okay, the system is poised against me. That is the one thing. Second thing is from government side again. We are seeing a lesser government, but the kind of infra which is required is very important. We cannot allow this to be another urban jungle when we have some clean sheets available with us, because the future generation then will not forgive. The third strategy is, as Mr. Manipal has told, that we must identify the right kind of entrepreneurs who are already there in the system, who are already doing well, who can come here, set up their shops and can be the sheet anchors for the new generation to look forward. With identification of 2-3 core sectors, I think that should suffice from our side.
Wonderful. Minimalistic governance, adopting the cleaner futures and this similar roadmap, and promoting the environment for the entire industries to come in. Seema ma'am.
My goodness. Okay.
So Rudra sir was actually prepared.
I would say public infrastructure.
Public
infrastructure.
I think he already mentioned.
Oh yeah, okay, fine. Anchor investments. Anchor investments.
Anchor investments, okay.
In infra sectors. Connectivity.
Okay. 3 points.
Okay, anchor investments, building brand Mohali internationally. I'm taking your point.
Manipal
And I think even a bigger education ecosystem, more universities.
Okay. Rudra sir.
All right. Having a really deep research culture in the educational institutions with coordinated effort for research. We do not coordinate. That has to change. We have to have coordinated research effort for deep tech.
Amazing.
Number one. Number two, a seamless pipeline for translation of research into products. Again, a very weak point for India. Focus on what is called TRL levels 4 to 7. Have specific plans with government and with universities to set up the joint centers for translational research. And train our students to think about conquering the world.
Wonderful, wonderful. Round of applause, larger. अब बड़ा इंटरेस्टिंग होने वाला है. सारे ध्यान से सुनो.
सारे आंसर तो दे दिए.
नहीं सर रूल है.
So, you mentioned in reference to some of the other thriving startup ecosystems or cities. I think I meant Bangalore was named over there. I think you said
Bangalore, Hyderabad, and International Silicon Valley.
So I'll say build an airport like Bangalore or Hyderabad.
हो गया?
नहीं वो airport नहीं बनाया ना.
नहीं वो change है.
So attract NRI Punjabis.
Okay.
The most successful ones.
Create an ecosystem for the NRIs to come into this region and invest in this region.
Yes.
Okay.
Give them that safe passage. They're your low-hanging fruit. Let's go after them. Number two, dedicated fund for Make in Punjab.
हो गया.
Huh?
हो गया सर हो गया.
Okay. And third.
Second sir, second.
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 So. So we talked about, I think it's very political stage of funds, academic institutions, but funds and
so that's the purpose of this panel. See, when policymakers, academicians, right, and industry sit together, we should be actually putting forward different points, different strategies. So if we're just iterating, then we are actually just defeating the purpose.
Yeah.
So you have the best and the most important job on the panel.
Promote women entrepreneurship.
Okay.
Let's go get the girl child and make them role models and open an incubator in every district of Punjab.
So this was the second one?
Yeah, women entrepreneurs. I'm all about entrepreneurship. Let's scale and promote our women entrepreneurs right at the district level. Pair them back with our mentors who are sitting in Silicon Valley or in Vancouver, and let's build a new Punjab.
Wonderful, wonderful, amazing, amazing. So I think we should actually, because the policymakers, academicians, all said in one voice that we need to have an amazing infrastructure. We should actually target the NRIs who are actually abroad and the low-hanging fruits, as he mentioned, to promote this region. And we all should collectively work together to bridge the gap beyond this thing, industry and academia, to make this region competing. Not only just competing, but getting ahead of Bangalore, Hyderabad, and International Silicon Valley. A huge round of applause for all the panel members.
Thank you so much, and I think an MC would always be a panelist's worst nightmare, but can't help it. Has to be that way. Thank you so much to our respective panel for bringing this conversation to us. And to felicitate our respective panel, could I please invite on the dais Mr. Nikhil Gupta, Mr. Sumit Sachdev, and Dr. Madhu Chitkara. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in felicitating Mr. Amit Dhaka, IAS, CEO Invest Punjab, driving investment and business-friendly policies. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Amit Dhaka, IAS officer, CEO, Invest Punjab, driving investment and business-friendly policies. Could we have a round of applause, please? Next up, please give it up for Dr. Rudra Pratap, founding Vice-Chancellor, Plaksha University, and a pioneer in micro and nano electromechanical systems. Ladies and gentlemen, let's give it up for Dr. Rudra Pratap, founding Vice-Chancellor, Plaksha University, and Ms. Seema Bansal, Vice-Chairperson, Punjab Development Commission, spearheading strategic initiatives for regional development. Can we have a round of applause, everyone? And also, ladies and gentlemen, let's have a round of applause for Mr. Manipal Dhariwal, co-founder and CEO, Netsmartz. And let's also join together in felicitating our moderator, Mr. Piyush Garg, Vice President-CEED, Chitkara University, responsible for shaping academic programs and institutional growth. Ladies and gentlemen, please give it up for our respected moderator, Piyush Garg. Thank you so much, everyone. Thank you so much.